Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are here at Pine Hill Cemetery in Auburn, Alabama, and we're here to visit the grave of Uncle Billy Mitchell. He's the man that right before he passed away, he decided, hey, I want to be buried in a feather bed. So nobody better than me, the guy that loves weird and strange graves. And we got to come pay Billy some respect and see what this thing looks like. If this is your first time here, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, doing all those things. And if this isn't your first time here, hey, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video. Shouts out to the members. Can't thank you guys enough. You guys are awesome. We're gonna walk around. We're gonna see some of the other historical graves. I say historical, it's mostly Southern Alabama based, related to the University of Auburn. You can hear the bells going off at the university while we're doing this.
The wind is crazy.
The wind is insane. Miss Backroads is here with me today on a Sunday. I got the hood up, it's so cold. It says it's 51, but I ain't buying that. So I think our first visit here at the cemetery will be an interesting one, to say the least. Please don't trip and fall, Miss Backroads. She's the one behind the camera walking and doing all that stuff. So the first one is very interesting that we're headed to. There's quite a few interesting graves here, but I wanted to go to this one first, just because of the way he was murdered and all of that stuff. So here we go. This is it. This is the grave of Jethro Walker, right? All right, so Mr. Jethro Walker was in his study reading his Bible one afternoon, and somebody decided to put a bullet in his head while he was reading the Bible. And it says on this plaque that he was reading the Bible in his parlor. His murderer was never caught, but was always very interesting that a son left rather quickly for Cuba. Soon afterwards, the story goes that he had promised to whip his young son for disobedience, and the son beat him to it. As legends go, that's how they take lore, right? So yeah, murdered while reading his Bible. I don't think I would have ever thought to go. I don't think I would have ever found this in a cemetery, but why not? It's an interesting one nonetheless. So leaving Jethro's grave, the guy that was murdered while reading his Bible, we walk over here to the grave of Mr. Nathaniel Scott. All right, he was a member of the settlement party that arrived in Auburn in 1836, and brother-in-law of the town is founder Judge John Harper. Remember that name. He was one of the 4 men charged with the layout of this town. So if you don't like the way this town works, he's one of the guys you can blame. He served as Auburn's first state legislature and died during the war between the states. He built and lived in Pebble Hill, restored by the Heritage Association, which is just downtown. All right, so we saw Nathaniel Scott, right? Which that sounds like a cool old name. I really like that. That sounds like somebody that did something important. So we talked about the judge, right? Well, don't worry, because he's buried here too, which is just right over here. And most of all these graves, if not all, have some type of, they have this concrete marble look. It's like they all had this one thing going on between them. So here we are. Here's Judge John Jackson Harper. He was the probate judge in Harris County in Georgia, but Harper came to Auburn in the 1830s and is considered the founder of Auburn. So this is the guy that started this whole thing. Little did he suspect that his son, who died with tuberculosis in 1838, would be the first to be buried in the cemetery. Harper wanted Auburn to be an educational center and a haven of temperance, and he passed the town down. He passed a town law forbidding spirits, which I think that's kind of funny in itself. So now we're at the grave of young Charles Stoddill Miles, which is from 1929 to 1937. At only 8 years old, this boy died of a sudden, tragic death from an allergic reaction to an insect bite. He lies under one of the most beautiful monuments at Pine Hill Cemetery, an Italian marble statue of a kneeling boy with a lizard on its plate. It's the only marker here at Pine Hill with a human form. And also the marker is the worst vandalized in the cemetery, which is sad to itself. Such a shame that people can't let something nice be nice. So we'll move on to the next one, and I'll see you at that one. So coming from the most vandalized grave here at the cemetery, we now come downhill, as long as I don't fall, to the grave of Charles Kerry. This grave, he was the first vet for the state of Alabama. He was also the first guy to introduce the established milk and meat ordinances. Like, he made it healthy. Like, he's the first guy that thought, like, hey, maybe we should do something about this instead of all these diseases and stuff. That, like, he helped rid Alabama of tick fever, tuberculosis in cattle, amongst other things. And he's actually in the State Hall of Fame. That's how important this guy is to the state of Alabama. He's the guy that helped make Auburn the agricultural school of the South that it is now, as far as cattle and plants. He's one of those men. So thanks, Mr. Kerry, for getting rid of TB and cattle. Appreciate that. So those two graves that we were just at is on the more the backside of this smaller cemetery. A lot of what you see that way, that's a newer section, right? All of our stuff will be more towards the older historic side. I never really thought this cemetery would be where it is. I mean, we're a good football's throw from the stadium and the university as it is. So, I mean, it makes sense back then. They didn't know the university was going to be quite as big as it was and all that stuff. So I think our next one is going to be, let's go over and look at Jeff Wyn. And this one's an interesting one. I'm going to pass the camera over to Miss Backroads. And while she holds the camera, I'm going to do a little bit of talking with my hands in my pockets, because it sure is cold. So this headstone is a interesting piece all in by itself, because if you look at the rest of the cemetery, this one kind of doesn't fit in, right? It looks a little different. It looks more DIY, if you will. And that's because Mr. Wyn passed away in a hunting accident. So the plaque says, killed in a hunting accident. I want to get the date right. In 1859. And his enslaved person at the time, because you got to remember how old this is, right? Amos was so distraught that Mr. Wyn had passed away that Amos took it upon himself to put this here. He chiseled this out himself. And sadly, Mr. Amos, after he passed away, because, you know, times were weird and different back then, he didn't get his own marker until later on. And somebody named Dr. Charles Glenn, an Auburn man who had become a well-known educator, decided, hey, maybe Amos deserves his own plaque, or his own tombstone, if you will. And he put it up in the other cemetery, which is at Baptist Hill. That's the predominantly African-American cemetery here in Auburn. So yeah, Amos Wyn and Jeff Wyn. What makes this so special is just it was done out of love and selflessness, right? Now, as we walk, we're going to walk past some of the graves we've been to. Like, to your right, you're going to see the markers of the guy that was shot while reading his Bible. And up the hill a ways, you'll see the chain link fence. As we get closer, you'll understand that there's where Uncle Billy is laid to rest. And he was born on May 17th, 1787 in Georgia. His father fought in the Revolutionary War, and he married Miss Martha Hill, and they moved to Alabama somewhere in the 1830s. Everyone in the town knew the farmer, and they called him Uncle Billy. And before his death on April 2nd of 1856, he requested to be buried in a feather bed. And when we first got here, I thought the gate was locked, and I was like, oh man, that's such a bummer. But sometimes all you got to do is try the second gate. So we came up, and I was like, well, that's not going to work. I almost knocked it down. I probably shouldn't do that, but there is a plaque, and it says that marker that's not Uncle Billy is the most elaborate marker in the cemetery, and it goes to Valencia Drake, and she was 1825 to 1860. So I'll give you some of that here in a minute. But Billy Mitchell is this right here. What you see. What I'm gonna get the drone out too, so you can see the top of it. And we'll come inside the gate that, thank goodness, opens. Now, another thing that I saw, what really tipped me off to this whole thing was I was just looking for strange and unusual graves in Alabama. And I saw that they used to do grave tours. And they dress up and they do the whole lot. They go to pretty much all the ones we've been to, plus more. And it looked like it's really interesting, and I don't think it costs a lot. I think from what I saw, it was like $10. And I really hope they still do it. And it doesn't look like there is any way to get inside, which I don't know if I really want to peek inside there anyway, but supposedly inside this is a man sleeping in his feather bed, resting for eternity. And the top says William Mitchell, who was born in Hancock County, Georgia, of 1787 and died in Auburn on the 12th day of April. It does say the 12th. I said the 2nd. So it's the 12th day of April, 1856. He was aged 68 years, 11 months, and 6 days. I do like that, how they put 68 years, 11 months, and 6 days. Like, I'm going to record exactly how long I made it, because that's pretty impressive. We don't really do that anymore. And so here's the other thing, not to take any light away from Billy, but this is the most elaborate piece in the whole cemetery. It's some of that Italian marble right here. Wife of John Drake and daughter of Augustus. That's a good name. Has their married date and her death date. So they were married 12 years before she passed away.
That's sad.
Well, at least they got 12 years, you know? The good thing about we're here on a Sunday, so the good thing about coming to a university town on the weekend, especially on a Sunday morning, is not a lot of traffic. A lot of the students, not a lot going on. And the drone, I think the battery's dead, so I'm just, like, when I say I'm going to show you drone footage, it's just me holding the GoPro. I'm not even going to try to be fancy about it. But, yeah, man, this is a really great cemetery. Here, you want
to think about him, like, wanting to be in a feather bed, like,
yeah,
of all things, like, but his wish was fulfilled, and here he is.
And here. We have 2 of these, and we're sharing it. It's ridiculous. All right, so I did try to look, because it's like, I wonder if I could find a way to...
all the original bricks?
It looks like it could be some of the original.
Like most of it is.
Yeah, and I think they've just kind of patched it where need be over the years.
Yeah, there's a few brick that are loose, like you can tell, or there's a few that's
like right in there.
Right here, there's one hanging out.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting.
And it looks like this spot would have been, if we wanted to get a peek, that's where that would have been at. But they've done a pretty good job covering it up where people like me can't look in there because we're weird. The other thing I've worried about is that right there, where she's got her foot showing you.
Yeah, there's a hole right.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a grave or what that is. I assume maybe it is, but
I mean, there's no marker.
There's no marker, so I don't. Yeah, it's like I've been trying not to fall in that this whole time.
Trying not to step on it. But
So here, you hold that. I won't try to look. Nope, it's all blocked up.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no getting in there. So we're just gonna have to take the word of the internet that in all history books that there's a guy in a feather bed here. But that's still a cool story.
It's a really neat
Yeah.
And it looks like the size of a feather bed. Like, it's
Yeah,
very
I mean,
believable.
If you're gonna lay in a bed like
like,
that's like a full.
yeah.
It's not a twin. That's a full.
But you think in the 1800s, like, that would be the size. They didn't have California King back then.
So yeah, that's it right there. That's pretty cool, man. I'm glad we did that.
Yeah. I really am fascinated with this cemetery. It's just very nice.
I think this one goes in, I'm going to give it a top 10, at least, out of all the ones that I've been to.
I like the one up in Huntsville also, where it's gated.
This one kind of reminds me of that.
That's what it reminds me of.
Maple Hill up there. That's the name of that one. But thanks for watching. I do appreciate it.
Yes, and the landscape at this cemetery, it's just really nice.
Oh,
it's
the flowers
taken care of.
the flowers are beautiful. They got, you know,
the shrubbery,
the shrubs,
everything. You can tell it's well maintained right here.
Yeah, it is nice.
It is.
So somebody had said in the comments they couldn't wait to see Miss Backroads in another video, and there she is. She made it. Sundays are good days for us to travel. Thanks, Pops. Appreciate that again. And I should have did my little thingy over there, but we'll do it this way. Here.
Yeah, we didn't do it.
We didn't do it. You can just, we'll point in that general direction. You want to say it?
You never know what you'll find on the back roads.
We'll see you guys next time.